So it finally clicked to me, and it's nothing new, but everything that is made up of your life is all in your head. Everything. Your opinion, your perspective, your dreams, your imagination are all things that are going on inside your head. And it took me probably 4 years to declutter the out of my head. I had to get rid of all of these facts that I learned from my parents and my upbringing and my teachers, and their belief systems that no longer served me. And I had to come home to myself and realize that literally everything that you want to create is here. It's your thoughts, it's your beliefs, it's your patterns, it's your behavior, it's your awareness, your lack of, what you believe you are worthy of, what you believe you're not worthy of. I mean, are we really, if you really dived into figuring out who lives in your head, are they your thoughts or are they conditioned thoughts from people outside? It took me years to fucking wake up and realize that I create my own reality. I've been singing the songs, I've been listening to the videos, I watch the movies where they talk about this stuff, and I always separated that as something that's happening for them, and that it works for them, but it doesn't work for me. And technically, that was correct in thought, because of course it can't work for me. I had too much stuff going on up here that I had no room, I had no capacity to even learn how to make my world my own world, because I was living in this character, this Sims life of what I thought I had to be, or I was conditioned to believe that I had to be a certain way to stay safe. Safe inside this bubble, safe playing small. I rather not take big risks because I did not want things to harm me. My fears kept me small. And in this transition of where I'm at right now, I'm realizing that fears and anger and shadows, people demonize these things. Yes, they can do horrible things and completely put you in a horrible reality. But when you realize that your fears, your anger, your negative self-talk is trying to bring something to the surface for you to look at. And I used to be one of those people that I used to traumatize myself into changing. And there's a couple people in my life that I've watched them, they go desolate and they become poor and they lose all their friends, and then they emotionally just crumble as a person. Even people who go to the point of talking about suicide. And I was one of those people that stuff came out of my mouth about all this loathing and self-hatred that I had for myself. Oh my gosh. All of these things are trying to pull on your attention to get you to wake the fuck up. Don't demonize these negative thoughts in your head. Bring them up. Okay, is this a fact? Why do I believe what I believe? Is this my thought or someone else's thought? What ingredients am I using to create my own reality? I mean, that's step one. Then you can start wishing and wanting and manifesting more of what you genuinely truly want, because you decluttered and you kicked out all the negative roommates that were inside your head. Does that make sense? And side note, don't waste your time trying to figure out how do I manifest. You already are manifesting all the time. You just don't realize what you're manifesting. Another funny thing is, I grew up all my life and I remember people telling me in my small groups and in my prayer groups and in my mommy me groups, whatever, everyone's I wish for abundance. And it's yeah, you already have abundance. You are worthy and abundant in every step of the way. It's just crazy what you're abundant of. Realize what you're abundant of. If you think you're lacking, you are abundant in lack. If you think that you are ugly, you are abiding and abundant in ugliness. Like, do you understand this? Another thing that's really cool. I'm just gonna like touch on these things, because again, it doesn't really matter what you say, it's how you say it. So I challenge you, be inspired, take my energy. Energy is the new currency. But another thing too is, one thing that I want to touch on later, but I want to bring it to the forefront, is this idea of trust. And I used to think I couldn't trust myself. But just like abundance, you're always trusting something. You're always abundant in something. You're always trusting something. And I trusted that my lack mentality, I trusted that I couldn't trust myself. Do you understand? Like, do you see that? Do you see the paradox of that? And if you don't, that's all right. We'll go and we'll touch on it later, but like, let that sit for a second. You're always trusting something. You're either trusting a lie, or you're trusting a truth, or you're trusting a belief system, or you're trusting that you can't trust yourself. Or you're abundant in the idea that you're not abundant. Like, the paradox. I think it's quantum physics, alchemy, all these little words. I mean, first I tapped into like manifestation. And again, nothing wrong with that. I'm just doing it like that because like I used to be one of those like little girls that were like, I'm going to manifest my best reality. And like, I love that. I love that part of me. But that, when I kind of like do that, I'm kind of like making fun of her, is because like I kept pitfalling. Like, I just have to believe good thoughts. It's like, yes, you do, but like you had no space to think good thoughts, because every time you had a good thought, you were challenged with the face of change to push through. And that's another thing I could talk about, is change. Change isn't what you see in your reality. What you see in your reality right now is present, but things that come into your reality are actually things that you've manifested from the past. And so, for example, if there's a certain thought that just keeps cycling, that you've fed throughout all these years, and it keeps cycling and cycling and cycling, you want that thought to change, all you have to do is, one, hello, I see you, you're cycling again, I see that thought, I keep having that thought, step one. Step two is respond differently to the thought. Don't feed it. I used to feed my bad habits, and it used to put me in a rut, and I used to feed them guilt. And what was the other one? Guilt and regret. Whenever a thought would come up and it would just like beat me down with all this guilt, I'd be like, oh, I shouldn't think that thought. I should be more grateful. And you know those shoulda, coulda, wouldas? That's gonna get you nowhere. It's okay if you think that the first time. It's okay if you think that the second time. But come on, be aware by the time that third thing comes around, it starts telling you you shoulda, you shoulda, you shoulda. Grab that shoulda. Let it go. Don't even think about you shoulda. You shoulda, coulda, woulda, what. That's it. It puts you in a rut. Okay, sorry. Drifting, come back. When a thought keeps presenting itself and you want to change, don't think I should, I could, I would. Those were my big ones. Like, I'm crying over spilled milk and there's other people, I'm laughing at myself, and there's other people in the world that don't even have food. I am so ungrateful. I shouldn't be upset and I shouldn't ask for more. And like, maybe that was just part of my upbringing in like the religious world. But like, that was really ingrained into me. And just literally this past year, I had to like get guilt and regret as like something I'm feeding, these thoughts that were prohibiting me from changing. And so once again, let me end this with changes in the response to things. And it doesn't change right away. And I think, especially if you're a parent, you'll understand this. Switching up approach, becoming lighter, more gracious, more loving, because kids repeat themselves a lot. And I noticed that like I would be like, again, and it's like 6 years later, I'm like, well, obviously that approach has never worked, so why did I expect it to change after 6 years? Why would I do this again? Let's try a new approach. And so I try a more gentle approach, a more like, I pause before I respond, because I noticed that I was doing this, and I was like, okay, I usually would respond with, are you kidding me? Not again. Are you serious? But I can't expect them to change if I'm not willing to change. Does that make sense? So it's like changing your approach. Once you become good at this, once you start practicing this, I mean, there's many layers. First, you got to get aware. You got to remove all the clutter inside your head so you can create more space, to create more change, to be more creative. And then once you start seeing this and you start seeing that the world is supporting you and that all these negative things and peoples and thoughts and whatever's not yours can go away, then you start manifesting your dream life. I mean, this is going to be forever. And honestly, I used to get hooked up on the whole, like, I need my manifestation now. And I'm realizing that it's the process, it's the journey, it's the adventure of this entire thing. Anyways, I'll go into more of that later, but I just kind of like wanted to pop on here and throw this onto the internet and grow with this energy. I'm realizing that, once again, it's not what I say, but how I say it. And I'm starting to see that energy is the new exchange. Energy is the new currency. I'm going to leave it right there. Have a good day.